Hi, I'm Sangeeta Saxena. I'm a web consultant at eDynamic, and today I'd like to talk to you about the key questions you must ask when you're selecting a content management product for your organization. The objective of today's presentation is to provide a quick overview of the key things to keep in mind when selecting a content management product, and it's targeted more towards a mid-market audience. With so many products out there to choose from, selecting the right product can feel frustrating or overwhelming. No single product is going to work for every organization or business needs, so you'll really need to understand what to look for in a content management product so that you can find the one that's going to work for you. It's easy to get caught up in the long list of features and capabilities for each product and miss out on basic evaluation criteria. But the cost of selecting the wrong product really can be significant, so you want to make sure you're looking at the right criteria to begin with. Let's start by looking at the product itself. You're going to assess several features and components of cores, and we'll also talk about implementation considerations. Take a look at the product strategy before you start going through the feature list. While vendors may not share their product roadmap with you, they can give you some sense of what their overall strategy looks like and where they're headed. Consider whether the product is focused on developers or on business users. If the CMO office owns a website initiative, then you'll need a product that's more focused on business users, with features specific for marketing needs. Your next decision is basically between cost and control. This will determine whether you go for a SaaS option or whether you'll need a custom install. Beyond meeting your immediate project needs, you need to make sure that the product ecosystem is going to support your long-term requirements. If it's a standalone product, consider what the vendor offers as part of the ecosystem, and if it's not, how well will it integrate with other products you might need? What is the product's market focus? Is it an enterprise product or is it targeted at mid-market? One thing to watch out for is a product that's positioned as being everything for everyone. In some cases, while a product may offer certain capabilities, you may be better off working with a vendor that specializes in just that component if it's a priority for you. Now let's look at the technology used. The decision here is basically between proprietary products or open source. Just remember that open source does not mean free, so do consider the total cost of ownership before you make a decision. As far as delivery architecture goes, there are basically two options here, having separate production and delivery instances or having them together in a single instance. Separating production and delivery works well for sites with high content volume, while single instance architecture is better for dynamic sites. Another major technology consideration is the product's ability to integrate, and this is something that's become more important now than ever before. People naturally tend to resist change, so a product that can integrate easily with tools and processes that you're already using is one that's going to be picked up more quickly by your users. On the other hand, products with proprietary languages can be harder to learn, so this can make adoption a bit of a challenge. Other points to keep in mind from a technology perspective include how pages are rendered, how secure the product is, how easy it is to upgrade, and performance considerations. Now let's look at what a WCM product is really all about, the content. You need to look at the product's ability to meet your organization's needs throughout the content cycle, including content production, management, and delivery. Let's begin with looking at how content is created and developed. Does the product support the types of content that you'll be using on your website, including multimedia content? What editing features are available? Also take a look at the workflow capabilities that are offered and consider whether they're flexible and can be customized to parallel your existing workflow. Once you've created the content, how will you get it onto the live site? This is where you need to look at the product's deployment capabilities. Does it provide support and central management for multi-stage, multi-site deployment and publishing? Next, how does a product manage your content? What is offered in terms of content classification and taxonomy? How are templates created and managed? How are pages rendered? Another important thing to look at is media. Even the most basic websites today are dynamic and contain some form of media, audio, video, images. So you'll need to understand how the product handles rich media and digital assets. In fact, many CMS products struggle with large volumes of digital assets, so you may well be better off looking to an external system for this. Also consider features available to provide or restrict access to different sections and components of the site, as well as indexing and archiving content and version control. Now, for the last phase of the content journey, you'll need to examine the product's delivery model. One of the most important things to consider here is how it supports dynamic content. Even in a simple website, a change made to one element may need to be reflected in multiple locations, and you need this to happen without forcing your user to manually enter it for each instance. Now, if your website is more interactive, then you need a product that can handle user-generated content and treat it just like any other content on the site. That means being able to put it through workflow, modify it, reuse it throughout the site, as well as on any other distribution channels you're using. As your company grows, internationalization may also become important to you. Can the product support multiple multilingual sites in different locations? Think about how it facilitates customization of the website to meet regional needs and how it handles translation or integration with any external translation services. Lastly, you'll want to make sure that the product provides the analytical and testing tools you'll need to allow constant improvement and development of your website. Many products offer multivariate and targeted A/B testing functionality as part of the product, but if you're already set on a particular third-party tool, then be sure that the product you're choosing is going to support integration with those tools. Let's go back for a minute to the discussion on dynamic content. What if you could adjust your site in real time based on user behavior? This is what true WCM marketing automation is about. Collecting session data and segmenting visitors allows you to present targeted content to your visitors and direct them through a personalized and therefore more effective experience on the site. Once you have potential customers engaged on the site, having an effective lead management system in place can provide lead scoring and CRM integration. Some products offer a comprehensive marketing automation package which can support analytics, campaign management, and lead management. In some instances, importing content and then managing it in the CMS is a scenario that needs to be catered to. So if this is something that applies to you, then make sure you have a well-defined migration strategy in place at the beginning of your project. Now that you've decided which features and capabilities you want, you're ready to look at how the product fits into your budget. Make sure you consider the total cost of ownership. Beyond just the initial licensing costs, there may also be ongoing annual fees or additional costs for product updates. You'll also need to factor in the other elements of website creation, as well as end-user training and any customization you might need. Some products are more difficult to maintain than others, and lesser-known or more complex products may have fewer trained resources or consultants available in your area, so this is another piece that can add to the bottom line for your project. Now let's take a look at what you need to consider around the actual implementation. The first question to ask yourself is who will do the implementation? Is this something that you'll have done in-house, with the vendor's professional services, or with a partner organization? A first-time implementation in particular is one that needs to be undertaken carefully to avoid any issues which could become problematic in the long run, so you might not want to have this done in-house unless you're very sure that your tech team is experienced with the product. The vendor's professional services can provide specific expertise, but may not be the best for application support after implementation. There may be integration issues with other products, so you really want to make sure they understand the business of application development and that they're focused on product and software development if you want to go this route. Going with a partner for implementation is typically your safest option, but again, do make sure the partner has product-specific expertise, demonstrated success in mid-market, and ideally, experience in your particular industry or vertical. The partner should understand the entire product ecosystem and should be able to support your project throughout the delivery lifecycle and any post-delivery tasks. Possibly more important than any of these is proven experience. So simply put, you're looking for a partner with a history of repeatable, referenceable, successful implementations. We've now gone through some of the most important things to think about when selecting a content management product. Other than just specific technology and a features list for the product, you need to consider total cost of ownership, implementation options, and the partner profile. Beyond just choosing the right product, eDynamic can also provide material to help you apply best practices for implementation, as well as tips from the trenches to make sure you're not falling into the common mistakes that are often made on these projects. For more customized information, you can talk to one of our consultants for a free evaluation on selecting a CMS solution or around the implementation process. We'd love to hear from you. You can reach us by email at contact@edynamic.net or by phone at 1-877-339-6264. This is Sangeeta Saxena. Thank you for joining me today.